Welcome back, guys. Okay, I've had a couple of requests for a similar themed video. Let me get in the right spot. All right, so I've had a couple of requests for a similar themed video regarding something along the lines of steal your mind. And while I can't really articulate a nice, concise video regarding that alone, I think I can tie it into something that's very similar, which is an idea I've touched upon before, which is kind of like information overload. So I've talked in a previous video about how the paradigm has shifted. Hold on here, let me move this a little bit. The paradigm has, that made it worse. The paradigm has shifted from favoring those that have the most access to the most information. And now it seems the paradigm has shifted to those who can filter information the best, because the bandwidth for information and your access to knowledge, just sitting here in my garage. Knowledge. There's a lot of information on the internet to get, and there's a lot of rabbit holes to go down, and a lot of it's a huge waste of time. So be very, very selective in what's going into your mind. The reason I'm diverting from the theme of steal your mind to more of information overload is because I don't actually have a nice, concise way of describing how I steal my mind. I mean, kind of protect your mind from unwanted advances or anything like that. Any kind of just bull crap getting in there. I wish I had something wise to say on that, but I think in my case, the reason that I'm so guarded mentally is specifically because I wasn't in the past. And it took me up until 36 years old, basically 2023. Well, I was actually making a lot of progress prior, but much like all good things, it's very slow at first and then all at once. And that's kind of what happened with me. And so in my case, I didn't protect my mind. So I'd like to take just one subject matter at a time, and I'll just give a couple examples until I feel like I've beat this horse into pulp. Pornography. Don't view it. Ever. Don't ever watch pornography. It is literally brain rot. It damages your body and your brain, or not your body, it damages your brain in so many ways that's just ridiculous. If you don't have a partner and you view pornography, you're going to be that much farther from finding a real partner for a lot of reasons. You're going to have unrealistic expectations. You're going to be desensitized to sexual stimuli, and you're going to have just, unrealistic expectations. In my case, I can talk without airing other people's dirty laundry that in my time of viewing pornography, even casually, that's the thing, is I never really viewed myself as a porn addict. But like most of you, I say most of you without really knowing, but I'm nearly certain, dude, because the data suggests it. Porn is like the most just ridiculously massive market ever. I mean, there is just every type of porn you could ever fathom, and then some that you can't. And after being a casual or frequent viewer of pornography for years, and then stopping for a very extended period of time, I do not struggle with pornography in any way, shape, or form anymore. But looking back, I can see how it directly damaged my relationships. I don't want to say specifically which relationships I've had that it's damaged, but it basically damaged anything where I might be sexually involved. And I think that if you guys kind of parse it out in your head and do the math, it'll start to make sense. It really is just common sense. And also there's something that's kind of like deep down inside of most guys, unless you're an absolute sociopath. I think you guys already know what the right choices are on a lot of these things. You just choose to forego it, either because everybody else is doing it or the consequences aren't that obvious, whatever the case is. But I kind of always knew, even when I was a bit younger, that I probably shouldn't be watching it. And I'm not taking it from a big moral stance, although there is that stance. I do feel that way as well. It's extremely immoral. And don't do or say anything that makes you feel weak. I've said that in previous videos, and I can't stress it enough. Viewing pornography is very weak. It makes you feel weak, and it's gross. It's degenerate, dude. Any kind of sexual conquest you want, go and get them the right way. Go and do it the right way. So that's just one little example about guarding your mind. Don't let that garbage in, man. And that can actually be kind of an analogy to most other things that you need to be careful with what you let in, including toxic people, toxic ideas. Good and evil do exist. I don't need to parse out every little bit about it for you guys, but what I can say is that good typically results in order, structure, life, productivity, happiness, and evil produces the opposite, the inverse of almost all of those. It produces more chaos, disorder, uncertainty. And on the good side is also cleanliness too. Cleanliness really is next to godliness, whether you're a religious person or not. There's a lot of sense to be made out of that there. But evil also produces a lot of filth. And if you feel gross after doing something, it's probably because it's fucking gross, dude. Like, knock that shit off, especially if you're my age. That's the other thing, is like, I can't really take the moral high ground for you young bucks. You're going to have to make mistakes, make them. Try to heed my words if they resonate with you. If you kind of feel deep down that just the blanket statement of do not watch pornography, if that just hits you right and you kind of just think, even if you don't really know why I'm right, but if you feel that I'm right, start trying to foster that relationship there between your head and your heart, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know, dude. I don't have it all figured out. What I do know is that you have a dialogue. The person you're going to talk to the most of your whole life is yourself. And it's literally for hours every day. Try to treat yourself like you're somebody that you care for. Meaning, like, what would you do for your grandma? You know what I mean? Like, how would you treat your grandma? You would probably do anything for her. If she was sick and you'd bring her to the doctor, well, then take yourself to the doctor. If she needed someone to talk to, then you'd be there for her. So listen to yourself, that type of stuff. Try to have these dialogues in your own head and find out what makes you feel weak and what makes you feel strong. Follow the things that make you feel strong. They are exhausting, but they're so rewarding. Like, even right now, I'm super exhausted, but I had a wonderful day at work. It really was good. It was a good day of hard ass work, and I was built for this crap. I mean, it wasn't like the hardest work on earth. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to exaggerate or glorify what I do. But it definitely had labor. It had a lot of like thinking to do, like, where does this go? How do I do that? All that kind of crap. So back to the task at hand. Man, I'm getting a whole bunch of text messages. Back to the task at hand regarding steal your mind and information overload. I think for me anyway, I'm probably going to get this one wrong. I'm sure there's a better way to package this for you. For me, I became really based in my values after trying almost everything. I was definitely the type of person that needed to find out exactly why you don't want to stick, forks in outlets. Dead serious. In 5th grade in Central Oregon, I was in science class, and I multiple times was sticking paper clips in the outlets, or in the power outlets, the receptacles. And I was getting just the absolute crap shocked out of me, and I just kept going back for more. And then eventually something popped and the whole wall caught on fire and the place was evacuated. I'm that kind of autistic. And for those that are sensitive to my type of flippant language, go away. I don't care about your offense. There's another thing too. Find out what your real values are. I'm not saying that I have all the values correct, but for me, this is how I live my life. If you're offended by anything I say, I don't put a lot of value into your offense. That's like saying my leg hurts. Like, okay, your leg hurts. That has nothing to do with me. Couldn't possibly care less. So information overload, steal your mind. I think I don't have much to add on this one today, guys. I need to. I know quite a bit about steal your mind. For some reason, I've been sitting on this one for a couple of weeks, and I think it's because I can't quite articulate why I know how to guard my mind. I am very careful with my mind. My BS meter is like on point, and I think it's probably because I fell for almost everything, man. I fell for a lot, and so I'm like permanently skeptical. And that doesn't mean I don't believe in certain things. It's just the few beliefs I do have, I feel very strongly about those things, and nothing would shake my faith in certain things that I have. So I would say maybe F around and find out. Find out what you really do, what works for you and what doesn't. Is polytheism for you? Are you the type of person that needs to have 17 religions to understand what's going on in the world? Do that. Cool. See how that works for you. I've tried quite a few things, and I'm finding something that works for me, at least at this point in my life. That's something else I do want to add is I'm not arrived. Once again, I've said it over and over, but I truly mean that. I wouldn't doubt that even the videos I make today, I might look back on and be like, cringe. So do that. Do what I'm doing. I don't think I'm going to regret taking the shots and swinging for the fences. Like I said, I'd rather be a player in this game than you know, whatever, an audience member or something, just sitting there passively watching as everyone else is trying things. So there's certain ideas that are just straight bad. It's in your responsibility. Okay, here you go. You want to talk about steal your mind? Do the research. That's something else too. And then do research counter to the things that you found. Really put your ideas to the test. If you feel like there's something that you really believe in, and there's something, and that same thing is something that you can't talk to other people about because of fear of being a pariah, or people are going to think you're crazy. Unless you're a genius, chances are you got it wrong and your idea sucks, and maybe you should abandon it. Because if it's ridiculed openly by most of the public, chances are it's not a benefit to society. Could be wrong. No idea. But I found a few things that work for me. I try and put my best foot forward. Some simple things on Steal Your Mind. Cut the cable. Cut the TV out. I hear people quoting movies all the time, and I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I mean, I used to be a huge movie buff, don't get me wrong. And it was through watching probably thousands of movies, to be honest. I mean, when I say movie buff, I mean it. Like, I really like the classics, and I used to. Haven't watched any of this MCU crap. If you're under the impression that stuff's entertaining, cool. Good for you. I couldn't possibly disagree more. That is brain rot once again. Go towards things that add value, not just random dopamine hits. Embrace the suck. The obstacle is the way. Oh, dude, I can just rattle off cliches all day. Cliches used to piss me off so much. I'm kind of just going on a rant here. I might even not even title this Steal Your Mind. I might even title it just Neurotic Autist Vomits on the Internet. But there's some truth in what I'm saying. I know there is. Try to start being really selective about what goes in your head. One thing that you'll find as you get older is the one thing that you're going to want the most is the one thing you can't get back, and that's time. I already am on the other side of that. I have plenty of time ahead of me, and I'm glad I kind of pulled my head out of my butt, proverbially. So now I'm really enjoying the time I have. I'm finally kind of hitting my stride, and nothing in my day-to-day has really changed to make it such. In fact, my days are harder. Legitimately. I push myself farther. I try harder. I try to be a man of integrity, and I don't always hit the target. I try to say what I'm going to do and then do it. And if it's going to change, I try to just own it straight up. I can give you guys a brief example. At the place of my employment, I drive company vehicles, and they are video and audio recorded. And I didn't read the print on the dress code. And the dress code states you have to be dressed while driving the vehicle, even if you're going home, fully dressed. And so I was doing the opposite of that. Not the absolute opposite. I wasn't like in my birthday suit, but pretty close. It was a pretty hot day. And so I got called in on that this morning, and they're like, talk to me. What's going on there? And I'm like, what? Just being naked. What's up? And like, yeah, you can't do that. And I'm just like, okay, I had no idea. So yeah, I'll go ahead and play ball. So I still miss the mark, and to other people it might seem obvious. That you might wonder what I'm getting at with that. My point is, like, not everything is obvious to me. Almost nothing is. I learned almost everything the hard way, and I'm trying not to do that as much. But I don't shy away from my mistakes anymore. And I would definitely say to not be afraid of making the mistakes and stop lying when you get called out for it. I spent a long time justifying my actions, storytelling, all sorts of crap to just avoid just being me. Where in hindsight, there were sometimes I probably lied, and it helped me in my place of employment, because the truth would have probably gotten me written up or something like that, but it didn't help me in the long run. And this kind of does tie into Steal Your Mind. It kind of does, in a way, because it really, Steal Your Mind means know what your values are and be based. I'm not talking about red pilled. I'm not talking about be a conservative. I'm not talking about be a Republican. So when I say based, I don't mean the meme culture based that is right now. What I mean is be very rooted. I guess I could say anchored, be grounded, find out what your values are. And then once you know them, put them to the test to like put them to the test more before you know that your values. Obviously, before they can become your values, you have to have tested them. A lot of people don't do that. Almost nobody does. They just kind of go with what feels right. And a lot of times they hit the mark, but they don't really know why. I'm the type of person I have to pull on the thread of every little concept, every little idea. And it was the worst initial strategy, and it seems to be panning out to be one of the best long-term strategies. If you can live it, if you can live the mistakes that I've made and survive it, it appears you start to get the winning hand, because there's only so many mistakes you can make before you're kind of like, oh man, I've seen this one before, and I don't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole. So if you think something is true, put it to the test. And I mean rigorous testing. It's not enough to say something like, if there's a God, there'll be lightning in 3, 2, 1. And then a lightning strike. That's not enough. That's not the kind of stuff I'm talking about. Like, that's cool. That's powerful, but that's not the kind of rigorous testing I'm talking about right here. I'm talking about the virtues, patience, accountability, integrity, honesty. Be industrious too. That's another thing. Don't be afraid of hard work. Oh, getting back to what I was talking about on being your authentic self. One of the reasons it's so important to just own any of your mistakes right away is it gives you feedback. Like, fertilizer promotes growth, right? And so if, let's say you make a mistake and then you downplay that mistake when someone's like, why did you do that? And you're like, oh, because it was the vernal equinox and my wife's step gerbil like woke me up and it chewed my alarm cord, and so I couldn't wake up. There was nothing anyone could have done. Who could have seen this coming? Really, I'm the victim. I mean, honestly, you feel let down? Oh, imagine how I feel being let down by the universe. Man, just fuck that shit. Just own everything. Lay every mistake at your feet. And one of the main reasons, you're probably like, why? Get to the why. The reason is because when you're honest about who you really are, you're okay. Like, people might be like, oh, wow, you're a freaking psychopath. Like, people think I'm nuts sometimes. But if I hide who I am, I don't get honest feedback. And I don't mean honest feedback in words from a person. Sometimes I do get that kind of feedback, but I mean, the universe will correct you. And it will correct you most when you're not being a bullshit artist. I've had exponential growth by just having no shame in my game. And there's been some times I should have some shame. And I'm going to wrap it up. I probably should have wrapped it up. We're at 18 minutes and 15 seconds. I should have wrapped it up at like 3 minutes. So this one's going to be just a garbage video. I hope it was somewhat entertaining. I'm going to redo sTeEl Your Mind again when I have a better grasp on exactly why it's so important to sTeEl your mind and how to do it. Because the only way that I know how to do it is I made all the wrong choices. And it's like, how could you not sTeEl your mind after what? Because my mind was open. I never did. And so like my evidence for sTeEl your mind would be like, fuck around and find out, as I've said, like do it, try it. And you'll find the losing. Oh, ideologies kill people, dude. Don't get mixed up in ideologies. Now that doesn't mean don't have political beliefs. What I mean is don't get caught up in the machine of anything. Don't do anybody else's thing, dude. Do your own thing. Like, live your own life, have your own values that may be very common with a lot of other people, right? I'm not like integrity. That's shared among millions. So don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, but just be very careful what you subscribe to, including my channel. Like, if this isn't if this isn't for you, that's fine. Take what you need, leave the rest. And that's kind of how you should treat a lot of things. So like, be open to new ideas, but investigate them very much. I mean, here's kind of a political one. Feminism. Maybe not the first wave, probably not even the second wave of feminism. I've actually done my research on these things. Third wave feminism is trash, just period. It is toxic. It's cancer. I don't need to convince you of it. Go ahead and do your own research, man. The reason I've had to is because I have several children that depend on me. And I'm trying to find a way to help them navigate life. And so I want to find the way to best empower them and help them navigate through life. And while I haven't figured it out yet, I have definitely figured out at least one way that will absolutely destroy my children's lives. And it would be subscribing to this idea of third wave feminism. It's trash. And there's a lot of things that are similar to that. I was just kind of picking on one right there because it was easy for me. I mean, imagine being a feminist. Whoo! Let me put on my clown makeup. You're not oppressed, dude. Oh, that's a huge one too. Don't try and be a victim. Don't ever be a victim. Like ever. I don't even care if you got T-boned. You might be a victim in that specific circumstance, but don't join this victim Olympics crap. You gain nothing. What you gain is short-term attention. You gain short-term acceptance. If you feel the need to be part of a group, you're way too immature for my channel. Or maybe maybe you need to listen to my channel, and maybe you need to be woken up and just kind of get slapped around a little bit metaphorically, because there's no benefit in this whole victim hierarchy bullshit. I've been a victim in my life of many things. I've been a true victim of actual crimes. I'm not a victim in any way, shape, or form, because that mentality just doesn't serve you. You will get literally nowhere by going, woe is me. What about me? Me. So the sooner you can get over that shit, and the sooner you can find your own values, put them to the test. And then once you know them, that's the other thing, is it helps you stay. So people try and knock me off of my, how I feel, what I do. I just rejected, denied, do not pass go, do not collect $200, get the fuck away from me. But I don't have to tell them that either. I just delete people from my lives, and they're the last people to know why. I just give them the busy treatment, right? Oh, hey, how you doing? Oh, good. Busy. Really fucking busy. I got to get off the phone right now. Hey, thanks. Oh, tell it best to your family later. Block. Don't be afraid of doing that, man. This one's to a particular individual that I talk to a lot in my personal life. I'm sure he watches my videos. But remember, I told you something along the lines of when you're in your 20s or earlier, you care what people think about you. And then when you get into your 30s, you stop caring what people think about you so much. And then when you get into your 40s, you realize nobody ever cared about you. Those realizations don't have to be at those years. Those are still the final results. You'll eventually, if you're doing this right and long enough, you'll get so over the entire idea of giving a shit what anyone thinks about you that you just kind of almost get aggressive with your own values. Like, I don't mean aggressive physically towards people. Like, yeah, I'm a bit of an aggressive dude, and I should probably be careful because I'm fitting to get knocked out somewhere if I keep going about the way I've been going. That's a whole different subject. I might even drop some comedy videos here and there, dude. If you guys knew the way I live my life day to day, it's kind of wild sometimes. I don't get in any trouble with the law. I don't want to, but I just mean, like, I have a newfound freedom, and I'm not going to let go of it. And I've spent way too long in my life caring what other people think. I still care what some people think, but those people are like 5 people in my whole life. I don't care what the cashier thinks about me. I still say hi, and I try and be polite. Hey, how you doing? Yeah, you have a great day. That's not actually caring. I couldn't possibly care less if that guy thought I'm short or stupid or loud or I'm wrong. I don't care to challenge other people's views. If they say that third wave feminism is the dopest, cool, right on. I don't have to tell them that they're retarded. They'll find out later. Been kind of toxic, this video. Later.